Here's how Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent plans to save the US economy, explained in under 2 minutes. This is your tax revenues of the United States of America. It's about 17% of GDP. The biggest spending in the United States goes to welfare. This is closely followed by Medicaid. And then after that, we've got defense, we've got interest payments on debt. As you can see, there is a big shortage of revenues compared with your costs. And that is especially because the interest on the debt is getting bigger all the time. When you spend more than your revenues, that is called a budget deficit. He said, here's my 4 plans to fix the budget deficit and this unsustainable debt path that we're on. Number 1, we have to grow the economy. Now, you don't grow an economy by increasing taxes. No, we've got to cut taxes. One of these disappears straight away. The only way to increase your revenues when you're cutting taxes is to get the economy bigger, because this is a percentage of GDP. So bigger GDP equals a higher real number. Secondly, we've got to cut interest rates. That makes the debt interest payment in the future more sustainable. Then Co-President Musk comes into play. You've got to cut the spending, right? You've got to sack all those consultants. You've got to start laying off public sector workers, but that's all right because you're growing the economy. Therefore, there's more private sector jobs to take up the slack. So unemployment rate doesn't go up. Unemployment not going higher means that interest rates can go down. Next, you slap a load of tariffs on foreign countries that aren't paying their fair share, and therefore you start to build this revenue side. Now remember, the two don't have to equal each other. Traditionally, tax revenues are about 18% of GDP, and spending in most Western economies is around about 22%. Why can governments spend 4% more as a percentage of GDP than they take in tax and revenues? Well, it's down to GDP growth and inflation. This is where inflation is a government's friend. It might not help you with the cost of your groceries, but it does mean over time, if you manage to grow your economy by 2% a year through productivity gains or through demographics, then stick 2% inflation on top of that, meaning you get real GDP growth of 2% and you get nominal GDP growth of 4%. That is the difference between your tax revenues of 18 and your